and gentlemen, rock and roll.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Pa, are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
Hey, welcome back. We are in the 80s Cafe. The doors are open, and I smell something tremendous, Mike. What do you think we smell?
Pizza!
It's pizza! Yes! So I told you about this awesome guy, and he's here. We got him to join us, but before we bring him in, I wanted to tell you how I found him. So right when I started this podcast, actually, it was right around the same month, I found this guy online, and he's called the Retroologist. Have you heard of this guy before? His name is Rolando Pujol.
Okay.
And he has been touring the nation, and he wrote this blog about everything he was seeing. And eventually he wrote a book about it called The Great American Retro Road Trip. And he was going into all of these Taco Bells and Pizza Huts and all these other restaurants that have turned into retro restaurants, meaning they went back to their original styles and original look from the 60s, 70s, or even 80s. And lo and behold, I tried to get a hold of him, and he actually reached back out to me and said he would do the podcast, and we kind of fell through with some of the other conflicts that he had. But when I started looking at the list, and we're here in North Carolina, I noticed something. We actually had a Pizza Hut classic that had been turned from, for what they had in the last couple of years to an actual classic. And it's 15 miles away from where we live. So I immediately told my wife, and then we were on it. And so we went out there for the first time a few months ago, and it was amazing. And then she took me again on my birthday not too long ago. So it's really amazing to see the transformation that they had. But I thought to myself, I got to find the guy who's responsible for this and thank him. And not only did I find him, but he has appeared on almost all of these news broadcasts, and he is viral all over the internet, sweeping the nation. And fortunately, we were lucky enough to have him to come on today and join us on the 80s Cafe podcast. Tim Sparks, CEO of Dayland Corporation in Wichita, Kansas, and the man spearheading this incredible venture. Thank you for joining us, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it. Look, welcome to the 80s Cafe. This is the place for you if you are anything and everything nostalgia like we are. And based on social media and news channels, you are an extremely popular man. You were not difficult to find because you're everywhere on social media today. And I really appreciate the fact that you've carved out time to sit and talk with us about everything that you've been doing over the last year. It's been amazing. If you could, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just appreciate you guys having me on. Obviously, things got a little crazy. I don't think, a lot of people try to go viral. I wasn't trying. It just
happened. Right. That's actually the best way.
Right.
Yeah. But you've taken this company, which it's I think, it's been around, I guess, since the 60s, I think, right? Or 70s?
1958.
58. Okay. Wow. And from what I remember in the mid 90s all the way up until recently, they turned this, what was a family time restaurant, into this, quick delivery pickup. Let's get it and go. And now you've got this incredible model where you decided to go the complete 180 and go the other way and make it like it was 40 or 50 years ago, like I remember as a child. How were you able to get this incredibly genius idea moving forward in terms of other people buying in that are responsible for helping you out, whether it's other investors or what have you? How did you get them to buy into this?
Well, it wasn't my original idea. It was actually an opportunity that Pizza Hut brought to us back around 2017. And so, I grew up in what we'll call classic Pizza Huts, either as a customer or working in them. For me, I've been around the brand 43 years.
Wow.
For me, that's what Pizza Hut is. That was what made us different, right? And if you go back maybe 26 years ago, the current leadership of Pizza Hut at the time wanted to become the number one leading pizza delivery chain in the world. And we did achieve that back then. But it got us away from our roots of what differentiated us from the other big brands.
Right.
Dine-in dine-in is really what got us there. So they came to me and said, hey, we're going to do this test. Would you be part of it? So I was like, yeah, I would love to be part of it. So We did two early on and back in 2018, and close to you, Galaga, Georgia was one of them. And the impact of watching consumers come in and have them say wow and get excited about every little iconic thing that has to do with dining at Pizza Hut, it just got very exciting. And I could tell it was the right thing to do. I mean, I could tell they were experiencing what I experienced back in the day. And these locations started to do very well, with the dining part of it. And when you look at anybody's business, they'll draw a 3-mile ring, 5-mile ring, a 10-mile ring, and look at populations and densities and how many customers can you potentially get. Well, we're getting people that are coming from 2 and 3 hours away. So we're attracting way more than, as an example, Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania. That's the one that really made this viralness happen. They have 1,700 people. They have 1,700 people in that town. That's
Wow.
it. And we're packed all the time.
And I guarantee you there are people away from, it's not from that town too, that they're coming from.
Absolutely. And they're coming from different states. And so as about every 5 or 6 years, we remodel a store or, one of our restaurants. So as the remodel time came up, we would make it a classic. So Pizza Hut then moved away from the classic design, but didn't take it away entirely from us. They said we could still do it, but they stopped supporting the opportunity to buy the Tiffany lights and stuff like that. So it kind of started to go away, it started to fade, but we continued to push it. And that's why we're up to 38 now. But it's been exactly what you see virally. It's just on a smaller scale. We were seeing it in our towns. We were seeing people really appreciate it. We were seeing it slowly grow and people comment. So it wasn't, it wasn't a genius move. You just had to be paying attention,
And give the consumer what they want. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It wasn't hard. And so, I'm not a rocket scientist. I just understand. I mean, 43 years, I understand the business, but I also understand my family ate there when I was a child. I have all those good memories. My older brother worked there when he was in college and I was still in high school, having no idea this is what I was going to do for my entire life. And then I became a young GM and I had the opportunity to work in that environment and see the impact. And just from there, it's the essence of what Pizza Hut is. It's who Pizza Hut is. And while all those fond memories are great, but what people don't realize is what made us so good is that, I mean, you've heard me say this many times now over the last few weeks, the best pizza you're ever going to get is the one that comes out of the oven and comes right to your table.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what you remember. You remember that pan pizza being super crispy, right? And still bubbling in that pan. But now if you take a pan pizza, you put it in a box, right? Although the box has vents, it still gets steamed. Then you put it in a delivery pouch to keep it warm. None of the steam gets out. By the time you get it home, it's a different product. Right. And that's what differentiates the dining experience from a carryout. There's nothing wrong with it. It's still good pizza, but it's not right out of the oven. And that's what matters.
Like everything you're saying, though, speaks to me, and I know to Mike, too. I'm looking at him, and he's salivating over here, by the way. I mean, if you had a Pizza Hut growing up in that decade, which is primarily what we talk about here on the show in the 80s, that's what Pizza Hut was. It wasn't the, get it from the delivery and have it brought to your house. It was you're going in and you're having an experience. And typically it was even on Friday nights. I remember Friday nights was the night my mom would say, all right, we're heading to Pizza Hut. And it wasn't a 30-minute little, eat and be gone. We're there for a couple hours. I mean,
ours was Sunday night, and our youth group at church or whatever would get together and they would go out. And I'm just telling you, man, you were throwing money in that jukebox and you were hearing some good tunes.
Yes.
And when that pizza came out steaming on you, man, we were royals.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just telling you, you were living large.
Walk us through the process, if you can, Tim, about the restaurants you're picking. How do you go about the beginning stages of it, and what does it look like behind the scenes where you've made a decision about a specific restaurant in a city that you're going to turn into a classic? How does that go about?
Well, initially there's stipulations that Pizza Hut put forward. So we have what we call 30 by 80 and 30 by 60 locations. Those are measurements, those are feet, and those are the traditional sizes of the Pizza Huts back in the day. So they had to be a 30 by 60 or a 30 by 80. So that meaning now, it's that traditional look. The town had to have less than 7,500 people in it. And so we couldn't do it unless we met that criteria. So that was the first thing we had to get past. So if we had that criteria, then we were allowed to do it. I'm hoping with all the attention now, they'll lift a little bit of those stringent, I mean,
they better,
I mean, you can still make it really you can really have an impact once you get inside the building, even if the outside isn't the traditional, red roof. But that was the stipulations. It had to be a 30 by 60, 30 by 80, less than 7,500 people. So we still have about 12 more, I think, that we can do that fit under the current guidelines that will get done over the next few years.
That's awesome. How many right now are in the hopper? How many are we looking at now that are eventually going to be turned?
Well, there's 155. There's 155 currently that fit the classic definition right now in the country. I know I'm going to, I know we've got 12 more that we're going to get done. I'm getting a lot of calls, a lot of emails from folks, other franchisees that, want to, in fact, we're having somebody send them an email, shows them how to source everything that we're doing today. And so I don't know what the numbers are, but it's getting a lot of traction. I was on a call yesterday. A lot of people are excited about it. So you're going to start to see it. And then the other thing a lot of folks wanted to come back was the buffets. And we've got some pretty big franchisees that have a lot of dine-in assets that are going to bring the buffets back as well. Under the current guidelines, they might not fit the classic prototype, but again, if we can lift some of those restrictions, they can get the buffet and the classic look back too. So there's a lot of retro things going on right now that I think will get us back to our roots. There's a lot of second, third generation operators now. There's about 100 franchisees in the country, right around that much. 99% of the locations in the country are owned by franchisees. It's not some big corporate entity running it. Yes, Yum Brands owns Pizza Hut, but they only operate about 65 or 70 locations across the country. The rest of it's folks like me. And they get it, and they want to get back to those roots. They understand where we came from. So it's exciting to see everybody get super excited about this.
I don't see how you can't cut that red tape for this, because I think it's masterful that you've done that. What's been some of the easier and more challenging things that you've had to see in terms of inventory? Like I know the Tiffany lamps have to be a challenge, right? I mean, those aren't just something you can find, next door.
No,
I see them on eBay. Yeah. I've actually, even before I came to your restaurant recently, they were on eBay, for the last several years, and they're probably within a couple $100, I guess. And man, so many times I've almost hit that buy button and have it in my cafe here because it's iconic. So, but what's been easy for you to bring in, and what's been the challenge?
The red cups were easy. The Tiffany lamps by far are the most challenging. Yeah. But now that we've gotten all this attention, we've got a lot of folks reaching out that want to produce them for us. So it's not going to be a problem moving forward. That's good awesome. Thing is, I hate to say this, I'm just not super proud of all of our assets because not all of them have the lights. They have everything but that. So we're going to be able to go back and put the lights in the ones that don't have it now, because it just doesn't look right without the Tiffany lights. When we found out absolutely. When we found out they weren't going to produce them anymore for us, we meaning Dalen, we literally bought the last 80 that they had.
Wow.
So we had them in inventory. We just stored them until we needed them, and then we went through them. But anyway, so I'm really glad that was the toughest. Past that, the checkerboard tablecloths aren't too hard to get.
Right.
But I wanted to take it a little bit farther than that. So that's why we got kind of the metal shaker arrangers, that were kind of like back in the day. Just got them off eBay, a couple different types, but they both, fit the case. It's exactly what we need. That's the look we needed. And then, back in the day, we had a red candle. We don't light the candles anymore, but we, went out on eBay, Amazon, and found, some battery operated red candles.
Sure.
Throw them out there, that, right? So that kind of added to the look. Then you throw in the red booth, right? The red booth, actually, that's what we had back then. And so, yeah, we have it's an off-green carpet that's very similar to what we had in the past. So, but Tiffany lights by far were the hardest thing. And now we're sourcing, the Pac Man games. We're putting those in now. So yeah, it's been an evolution, but and for our stores, there's different folks doing different things everywhere. We don't have a jukebox yet in any of ours. We've been trying to source the one we want to make sure it's the right answer. Like our, the technology, right? It's the Pac Man game. It's got all of the games on it, right? It's not just Pac Man. It's got Galaga, Mr. Do, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., all of them. And we don't even charge for it. We just let kids play.
That's awesome. Wow. That's even better. God, we would never leave. I actually have one of those in the cafe now, Tim. That was one of the first things I put in here. So you've already seen in my cafe here the footprint that was made by Pizza Hut. That was one of the first things I put in here when I built my house out here with all of nostalgic things in here.
Awesome.
And in fact, we actually had the red cups in here too. When I found out about the first classic here, 15 miles away, and I was leaving, I said, look, I know this sounds like a ridiculous question about my wife and I really would love to take these home with us if you don't mind. And of course they were very gracious. I don't know if you like that, but the fact that they understood why I wanted them. And so I have a set here in the cafe just for looks. So yeah,
Good.
a lot of people point to it and love it.
I love that, and I love that they made the right decision. I agree. I'm that's very serious. That's awesome.
Oh no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
They didn't have a Pac Man game for me to take home, but they did have the.
I don't know where you would have put that anyway.
Hey, I got room for
Tim. Yeah, I just had a question. I mean, a couple of years ago, I know it was a few years ago, one of the real popular TV shows was Undercover Boss, and so how many of the classic restaurants have you actually visited, and do you have to wear a disguise when you go?
No, I quit blinding stores a couple years ago because everybody, knows what I look like now.
Yeah.
But as far as visiting them all, I get to every one almost every year. It's rare for me not to get to every single one.
Great.
So you've been to North Carolina to see some of the ones here? Oh, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw all of North Carolina and all our stores in Georgia just a few weeks ago. And I just flew back this morning from visiting all of our stores in Virginia. Yeah. So I was in, 12 of them, 13 of them last 48 hours.
Which one? I got to know this, especially if it's on the East Coast and I can actually get there. Because my dad's house is in Ohio, so we frequently travel up north, back and forth along the East Coast. But which restaurant in your mind really stands out? Like one that has everything of everything in terms of the "please wait to be seated" sign to everything that you just added. What's the one that just is probably the one that you close your eyes, open them up, you thought you were in 1984?
Yeah, it's in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Well, we're not.
But
how's that far?
The close one. Well, but close to you, Dahlonega, Georgia. If Dahlonega we're getting them one with just the space to put it, but we're going to get them a Pac Man machine. So once they get it, I would say Dahlonega, Georgia for you guys.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think this model went away? You think it's just because they, like you said, the Pizza Hut CEO just wanted to have that name of having the best delivery franchise as opposed to this? Like there's got to be a reason why. I mean, because we're talking about how much we love this, and it's not just the three of us. It's thousands of people who are so happy that this is returned, and it amazes me that we got away from it.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you start to get me in trouble. Again, 43 years, right? I've been in the brand 43 years. This company, Dalen, this is our 50-year anniversary. April 1st was our 50 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And one of my partners worked in the very first Pizza Hut the day it opened. So we go all the way back to day one. We understand the history of the brand. We understand how it grew, why it grew. Well, once you get taken over by a large corporation, there's a lot of churn and upper management, and every new person comes in and they need to make their mark on the brand, but they don't understand the history. And that's what happened. We had people come in that then got to make decisions that affected the entire brand that didn't understand our history and didn't understand what our competitive advantage was, and didn't understand that it's okay to get into the delivery business, but it's not okay to put all of your focus on that and literally quit supporting dine-in. So, but sometimes, it's a hard lesson to learn. I think it's been learned now. I hope it has. Fortunately for us, we never got away from the dine-in business. And I'm telling you, that's why we're still successful. That's why, we're making money. We're doing good, and we'll continue to, because, it doesn't just have to be iconic when you come in. It's just a great place to come and eat, in a great environment with great people. And if you put that all out there, it's going to be great. Now, let me tell you, this will interest you because you're food guys, right? So the number one crust, the number one crust for Pizza Hut across the country is hand-tossed dough by far. That's the number one crust that we sell. Dalen, my company's number one crust is pan dough. Now I'm in 11 different states, so you can't say it's a regional thing. Why would that be? It's because the best pizza you will ever have comes out of the oven.
Right table. There, 10, 15 seconds later.
That's it. And pan dough is so good, hot out of the oven.
You got that right
to your table. That is why it's still our number one dough crust that we sell.
Yeah. Yep. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, And again, here's what else I didn't think about it till while you were speaking, but you're also doing this. We as nostalgic junkies are going back into our, middle school and high school years of when our parents brought us. But what you're doing, which I think is fantastic, is, Michael and I are 50 and 60 years old, and, we're going to have grandkids one day, hopefully. And what we're going to end up doing is celebrating them by taking them out to your franchise and the way we grew up. They're going to be able to do the same. And so now you're talking about another generation that you are impacting. And so that's why, it's fascinating.
Yeah, that's super cool. We had a neat experience while I was in Tunkhannock a few weeks ago. Literally, I'm standing next to the phone when it rings, and a server picks it up, and it's a couple. They're in their 80s, and the guy wants to make a reservation for the next night because they're going to come from about 2.5 hours away, because his 80-year-old wife, it's her birthday, and she had never got to have a birthday party in a Pizza Hut, so he wanted to take her to Tunkhannock for her 80th birthday. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of birthdays, I do recall having birthdays at Pizza Hut. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, McDonald's was another one, but I was a lot younger, when they had the playground set and all. But there's zero doubt I had memories of Pizza Hut birthdays and celebrations. Speaking of that childhood that I remember, what about I know this is kind of archaic too. I remember the Book It program. Is there any way we're going to bring something like that back? Because the free personal pan, I mean, I was the minute I got that notification, I brought it home to Mom, and she was, right away. We were, and you're talking to two teachers, by the way. Yeah. So 2 English teachers, mind you. So this meant the world to us as kids, that we got a whole free personal pan to ourselves if we met our reading goals. So I'm all for bringing that back if you have any pull in that category.
Well, I do, but what's going to surprise you is it never went away. It's still out there.
Oh, it's still there. I didn't even know that. That's the thing. We don't have a Pizza Hut here to sit down in. I mean, that's why we never knew about it.
So what's happening right now, and this came up yesterday on a call I was on, is, we're monitoring comments online. We've realized we've done a poor job of letting the country know about the Book It program over time. We've let it phase out. And then 1984, I became a manager for the first time. I was 20 years old. That's when Book It came out. What I loved was that, I already liked my job, but I saw the impact it had on the kids. I actually went 100%. To the school that's literally across the street. And the superintendent of these schools declined to let Book It in. They felt it was a large corporation trying to get into the school system, and it wasn't. And so 2 teachers approached me, like you two, approached me and said, "Tim, can you get me the material on the side?" And I'm like, "Man, you're going to get in trouble." They're like, "Well, we just think it's a great program and we want to do it." So I bootlegged them some stuff. I got a hold of the Book It folks. They sent me the material. Those kids' reading levels were 30% better than the kids that didn't have the Book It program that year.
Done.
And so, yes. And so the next year, the entire school system participated. They did get in trouble. They didn't get fired, but they did get in trouble. But they all, so they ended up nominating me as a 20-year-old kid. I won an award from RIF, Reading is Fundamental, because I used to go over and read to the kids every week. But what I'm getting at is, for a 20-year-old kid, it was really impactful to me to actually have a job that I could do something that also helped the community. It wasn't just about selling pizza. And that really, really excited me. And that's probably one of the major reasons why I stayed with the brand for so long.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so glad that you've got it still. That's and again, I apologize for not realizing that. But again, we don't have a Pizza Hut here that we can sit down in. It's all of ours are delivery takeout, except for the one that I traveled to, not too long ago with my wife. Yeah.
Well, don't apologize, because it's good to bring it up so people know. And in fact, I can't tell you exactly what we're about to do next week, but you should be listening.
I will be. Trust me.
Listen to marketing, because it evolves around Book It, and it evolves around personal pans. And if you still got a Book It button, get it out of hiding. Because
I wish I still had.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, guess what? I can find one. I promise you. I can. The internet is a good source for that. I can find one. That might be something I'll be hopping on. I'm not sure your take on this one, but I do remember beer and pitchers being delivered to these tables. Are we bringing that? I'm going from Book It to the beer and pitchers.
Yeah, right.
Are we bringing that back? Are we getting tap beer, or is that something we're just going to leave out this time around?
Yeah. See, I do think that's another spot that we lost our way. And actually, I was part of that, not as a system, but for Dalen. as we grew, those little 30 by 60 and 30 by 80 locations started to be too small. They were built for a particular volume. All of a sudden, man, we don't have room for stuff. Kegs take up a lot of space, whereas cans and bottles didn't.
Right.
And so we ended up pulling those keg boxes out of a lot of the stores because we needed the space to put in, Wing Street wings and things like that. We still have quite a few that do have a draft beer. A lot of them switched to bottles and cans. And then a lot of them, we just weren't selling enough beer to, if your beer license is $1,000 a year.
Justify it, right.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to have it to sell 3 or 4 beers a week. So, but it's kind of sporadic across the country. But I mean, I'm a dude, right? Pizza and beer. Come on.
I was about to say, having that pizza, I know with, I didn't have the beer as a kid, but I remember pitcher after pitcher being brought to tables with that pizza. So yeah, you're right. Those are good combinations there. Okay. So of course I told my audience about you coming on, and I put on a lot of social media sites with my email for the pod that you were on. And so we got a couple mailbag questions I thought I'd throw at you, if that's okay, before we get you out of here. I know you've been traveling all day today, so we appreciate your time. The first one's actually non-pizza related. So David from Indiana wanted to know, what's your go-to 80s album and your 80s movie? What are your go-tos there? I'd love to hear your taste in that.
I mean, I don't think anybody can argue that the 80s was by far the best era of music. And
music to my ears, no pun intended.
Come on.
Perfect.
Those people are either still performing, still touring, right? And I get nervous that, really good live music is going to fade by the wayside as all these, bands start to now retire. But,
right.
Think about the 80s. You had, certainly Thriller, right? Because that was probably the biggest seller of all time.
Number one.
Purple Rain, right? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Appetite for Destruction, right? I love Guns N' Roses, and Master of Puppets, right? Metallica.
Every single one of these are in my cafe wall. Yeah. I got albums. Yeah, perfect.
I think if I had to go for mine, it would probably be Pyromania with Def Leppard, because I think it came out like January of 23, and I started work for Pizza Hut in April of 23, and that was the year Personal Pans came out. So we would be in there in the morning making 350, 400 personal pans with Pyromania blaring and, fooling, singing.
Photograph, all of those.
Yeah.
So you didn't know you were going to wind up singing here on this.
No, you don't want that anywhere.
You didn't hear Mike. That's why he wanted jukeboxes in there, not Tim.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of great movies too. That's back when we used to go to the movies and not, download movies and stuff. So, again, right? Remember, you go, you take a girl, you weren't sure if you're going to try and hold her hand or not, and those are all great memories. Now I don't know what they do now. They just watch it on their phones.
We talk about this all the time. Waiting in line for the movie, having that anticipation of getting there and having the experience of watching the movie with 250 other people, not just you and one other person, in your living room. There's something to that, right? Just like, it's everything you're saying about your own restaurant. All of this is this experience that you're used to having as a kid, and then you bring it back. I have seen a lot of people talk about surge recently in some of these movies. In fact, we have a theater here where it's called the Golden Ticket, and they're actually bringing back these older movies. When I say older, I don't mean movies from movies from the 80s and 90s. Because they're not making the movies anymore the way they used to. And so the only way they can get the sale is by bringing these movies back that we all remember watching in the theater. So I think it's very similar to what you're doing.
Well, I think the movies in the 80s were similar to the music in the 80s. There's so
100%.
many great ones.
100%.
It's crazy.
And you know what? People didn't care about offending anyone. You obviously don't want to go up and truly try to hurt people's feelings, but people wrote scripts all the time, and especially the comedies. They didn't really care about being offensive. They just wanted it to be funny. And people didn't take it seriously, which also, buys into that. So you're right. The 80s, they're the best. That's why we have a podcast for it. Okay, Jeff in North Carolina wanted to know, this is kind of a long-winded question. We probably kind of answered this, but it's a good point to make. Was the 80s really the best decade, or are we just kind of caught up a little bit in the mystique and lore, clouded by the passing of time? If it is the best decade, what do you think is the single characteristic that makes it better than the 60s, 70s, or 90s? I know for a fact this is a true statement. But is it because we all are clouded into a certain time in our life where we're in our youth, and therefore that part of everyone's youth becomes the favorite decade. I don't know.
I
I'm a
think
little
it was
biased.
a much more innocent time. I had an
Yeah.
aha moment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was asked to go. We had some Sonic drive-ins in Milwaukee for a few years, and that school had asked me to come and just talk to the kids about how to fill out an application, how to set up a resume, and then take them through an interview, right? And so I guess I just hadn't been in a school in a very long time. And, I got to the school and I wasn't allowed to go in. There was literally an officer at the door, like not a rent-a-cop. He was an actual cop. So I thought something went down, and that was just their security dude. And, I got taken in, they took my license. I had to get a special pass. They made sure I knew, this is where you're going. Don't stray from that path.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, this is just so different for, just roaming the halls of our schools like we used to do. And that's when I could tell, just the first time it hit me as an adult that, wow, things are really starting to change. And, you didn't have cyberbullying back in the day, people hiding behind keyboards and stuff. And even like right now, I'll be honest with you, I always heard, stars talk about they mental illness or they get upset because they read comments. And I'm like, it can't be that bad. It's just words. And then I went viral, right? And the first couple of days, I started reading comments, and I'm like, okay, I'm not reading the comments anymore.
Oh, man.
Are you serious?
It's just like, yeah, it's like, 99% of them are great, but why is that one person got to get on there and say things that just...
What could you
what beef could they possibly have?
What is he, the Domino's CEO? What the hell?
Yeah, well, probably. Could be, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we didn't have any of that. We went to school, we had a good time. We played sports. We got done, we went to the movies, we went to pizza. Those are the things that we were doing. And now, it's just a different day and age. And we have some really good friends that have kids and they're really good kids because they have great parents. And so I know there's still hope, right? But that's the biggest thing that changed for me, I think, is the school systems and what's happening in schools.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This is from Adam in Washington, D.C. And it says you have 4. And I was going to play a joke, Tim. I was going to say this is from Donald T. in Mar-a-Lago, but Donald Trump's not listening. But anyway, probably not. But anyway, maybe he will. But this is,
Oh, he's already had some Pizza Hut. I promise you.
I am. Yeah. It probably has.
Hey,
security and everything.
He was a spokesperson for us back in the 80s.
Oh, wow. That is true. I
he
remember
did a commercial
that
for us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you got to hook us up. Get Donald T on a podcast.
Yeah, we see. But let's an interesting scenario here, Tim. You have 4 red cups. You got the Tiffany lamp. You got the red leather booth, and you're there. You got 3 other cups. Who are you going to invite to share pizza and a salad buffet with you? They can be alive or dead. Who would you choose?
Oh man, that's a tough call. It's okay if not to choose me and Mike. I'm fine with that.
I would probably say first Dan Carney, and actually, I told you earlier it's Dalen's 50-year anniversary, and we're having a party tomorrow, and he's actually going to be there. You're talking about a guy with his brother that built a business. They borrowed $600 from their mom, and that a business that became really part of American culture. And I've never really had the chance to sit down with him and just talk about the day 1 and day 2, and were they worried about the investment? Or, I've read quotes, and I've been around Dan. I've met him a few times, but I've never actually gotten a chance to sit down at dinner and have a conversation. Certainly, Dan and his brother Frank is no longer around. I mean, I've done this 43 years. It'd be cool to have a good conversation with the person that actually started something that, again, became part of American culture.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
I guess every business starts somewhere. And then I think because of what I do and what I try to do, I would say Walt Disney, because Walt Disney, he sold experiences and memories, right? He wasn't just selling a product. He was selling you an experience, and he was selling you a memory that you're going to remember. And that's what we're doing right now, right? So you didn't know back in the 80s and 70s and 80s and 90s, we were, that's what you were being sold, but you were. And so I love that.
That's a great call.
Certainly Walt Disney is on a totally different level, but I'd want him at the table. And then my third one, we talked about the business with Dan. We talked about how to make a great business with Walt. In the food business, you guys will appreciate this. This. We work hard, but we play hard. And I would probably want Blake Shelton there because I know he'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
And we'd have some music, and all his buddies would show up.
My wife loves him. Yeah. Great music. No, but I love the fact that you have, somebody in the business world, somebody in the world of trying to make memories and make people happy. And then you have a musician who does basically the same thing, right? With a talent that
Absolutely.
he was born with.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we won't take offense that Michael and I were not on the list, but that's okay. We'll let it slide.
We'll be in the next booth over.
Can we be in the next booth?
I was hoping there were 6 cups, but you only gave me 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, even if there's 5, we can share a cup. We've known each other for a long time. Okay. So from Laney in Michigan, if you could buy another franchise to either bring it back from the dead or change it and make it retro, what are some other what's a restaurant maybe you would look at and say, man, I know I could do something with that and bring it back to its original roots like you did with Pizza Hut?
Yeah, it's another one very similar to this one. When my father was in Vietnam, I lived in Charleston, West Virginia, a small town I lived in St. Albans actually, and right up the street was a old school Dairy Queen, and
yes,
the reason we lived there is that's where my grandparents lived. So, as a young child, you walked up there, had the old picnic table outside that hadn't been replaced for 40 years. It was it was that old Dairy Queen look. You go up and get your Mr. Misty, right? And now they've modernized them, which is what we did in a lot of our Pizza Huts. They got it. And don't get me wrong, I think the Dairy Queens look very nice now, but it's not my memory. Like I don't drive by those and go, man, I need to stop here. But when I drive by one that hasn't been remodeled ever, you have to stop.
Yeah. I mean, we have one that's about 30 miles from here on the way to the beach. We're about an hour and 20 minutes from the beach. And we have a place at the beach, and on the way to the beach, that place has been there. So, I've lived here, almost all my life. And so they haven't changed it. It's simply you park, and then you have to there's no drive through, no restaurant inside. You have to walk up and order from outside. And of course,
right?
A&W, route. I mean, it's all there. So that's a great call.
That actually would have been my second choice. It would be A&W. That one popped into my head because that old, pull up. And I remember doing it with my family. And it wasn't bright orange; it was faded orange, right?
Right.
It's not like they were painting it every year, right? But
no.
that was part of the greatness of it.
But see, and I said A&W because in the South we didn't really have A&W restaurants. It was just the root beer that other restaurants like Dairy Queen sold. But I do, my dad being from Ohio, I have seen A&W restaurants like you're suggesting. So yeah, that'd be a great choice too. All right, my last question for you here, and this is super important.
Age-old debate.
This is age-old debate. This is from Debbie in Texas. Thank you, Debbie. A pineapple on pizza, should this be illegal? Do you put pineapple on pizza for you personally?
I don't know what you've seen as I've gone viral, but my career started as a dishwasher at the Mapuna Puna Pizza Hut,
Hawaii,
on the island of Oahu, in Hawaii. And
wow.
Oh my God. Okay. So I know the answer.
I know
to
where
this.
you're from.
Oh gosh.
So now I will tell you, pineapple on pizza is fine. You know what I don't like? I don't like the foo-foo ones they do nowadays where they got field greens and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That gets me, but I guess because my career started with, we sold plenty of pineapple on pizza out there. So yeah, I mean, it's not for me, but I don't mind it.
Okay. We will.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That was
a
neutral response.
Disappoints you so bad.
No, I like it. I like pineapple and ham. I do.
Yeah. That.
Okay.
He does, and I don't. That was the thing. You were gonna make one person happy and one person not. So you had no way to win on that either way. Yeah. Actually, you kind of did because you said you don't mind it. But
yeah.
All right.
I guess the answer I was hoping were not in my restaurant. But no. Well, Tim, we're going to let you go. I know you're busy. I know you've been traveling a lot the last few days, and I cannot thank you enough for coming on, and more importantly, for everything you've done for this franchise and what you're doing for literally society in America. You have really done something, a service that a lot of people may look at it as just simply changing a restaurant, but you've done something for thousands of people, obviously, judging by the reaction that people have gotten, and you being on all kinds of news services and the internet. You've certainly struck a chord with a lot of people, including myself, including Michael, including my fan base here on the 80s Cafe. And we really appreciate you hopping up here and joining us and for everything that you're doing.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. I think your whole concept of the 80s cafe thing is off the chart cool. I mean, that's so awesome.
Excellent. Well, yeah, please, yeah. And look, what I'll do is this: I will pump this up all through this part of the state, and you can pump up in Kansas the 80s cafe, and we can help each other out. That would be amazing. But once again, you've done a great service, and we thank you so much. And hopefully, I can get you back on soon, and maybe we can talk about how much more you've added to the list of restaurants that you've impacted. But
that'd be great.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. That's Tim Sparks, ladies and gentlemen, from Dalen Corporation in Wichita, Kansas, CEO. And man, what a great guy.
What an interesting dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's going to do a lot for this country for that. I know it just seems like something incredibly small, but it really is impactful. I mean, I was literally talking to somebody the other day, and they didn't even realize I was interviewing him, and they were talking about it in our hallways at school the other day.
Oh, wow.
And I happened to hear the word pizza, and I was like, oh, what do y'all? It's like, oh, we got a place in Farmville that Pizza Hut, changing. And I was like, you're never going to believe this. They actually didn't believe me. They thought I was just running a joke. I said, no, I'm actually interviewing him on Thursday. And they were like, what? They couldn't believe it. So they're looking forward to hearing about what Tim had to say. So
I bet.
That's great. All right. When we come back, Michael and I are going to make a list of our own. We got to bring some things back. Tim Sparks is responsible for bringing back Pizza Hut and bringing back nostalgia. And we're going to do our best on our end to get that done as well. But we're going to do it in the form of a top 5 list. And we are not CEOs. We don't have the money to do it, but we're going to find a way anyway. We'll be back in a minute. All right. Well, Mike and I wanted to end the show today by just talking about, since Pizza Hut was the theme here, but and the fact that we're bringing back this restaurant the way we remember it. We decided to come up with a list of our own of things that we would love to bring back. And these are not just restaurants. I told Mike, it could be clothes, it could be entertainment, it could be automobiles, whatever you wanted to choose. It was fine. What are some things that are logistically possible, but they're not impossible, maybe unlikely, but certainly something like, well, I mean, a lot of people probably would think turning a Pizza Hut back into its original state was not possible, and he's doing it all across the country. So some of these I look at and I go, you know what, this is actually doable for me. You might have some, I don't know, that it's just something you wanted to bring back, but I try to be a little bit logical with my answers. Not
these are probably not.
They're never coming
necessarily doable. It's just, maybe some of them.
Look, 10 years ago, if you said these Pizza Huts are all going to go back to their 80s retro, I would say no way. They're not reinventing this restaurant again, back to its restaurant. And look what we see. So don't say never. Never say never. Okay. All right. So I'll go first. And this is in no particular order. These are my first of my 5 that I'm going to bring back. I actually tried to we actually have them. Let me just stop and say these are not extinct, but they're endangered.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it, right? We have one in Ohio where I used to see my dad, and my stepmom still lives up there. And I took my girls a few years ago. They said, Dad, why do these not exist all over America?
Okay.
And I say, you're 100% right. There's not one in Greenville. There used to be one in Greenville. I used to work in one when we first worked together in the summer. It was my summer job.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And that is roller skating rinks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Roller skating rinks.
I think they have one in Wilson.
Blasting. They have one in Chalkawinity too.
Okay.
It's not the way that we think about them, the way with the lights and with the original skates and then the 80s music blaring and the food next to it, the food court next to it, all of it. I just miss going in there and just listening to every 80s song that seemed to come up, a blasting 80s music. And again, I took my kids and my wife to it in Ohio, and they were just the first one they'd ever been to, and they loved it. Yeah. And these are college, high school, middle school level kids, not 7 and 8 year olds. They love everything. No, these are like older kids that actually said, Dad, why don't we have these? Why do we not have one in Greenville? And they were blown away when I told them I worked in one before it went out of business.
Oh, wow.
And it's just one of those that, again, they're not extinct. Yeah. They're endangered. You don't see hardly any of these anymore. Big cities maybe have them. Raleigh's got one in North Carolina, but where we about an hour and a half from here.
I cannot go to these, even if they bring them back.
But would you enjoy watching your grandson with his mom rolling around watching that event?
That would probably be good.
And then listening to music that you love to. Yeah. It's and
it would, but
and eating a slushie in the concession area.
And they did.
Come on.
They used to have food. I don't know how good it was, but anyway.
All right. Well, there's my one. Okay. You're up.
Well, since we're kind of we segued into food, I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw this out there. even though we got a ton of other ones, I'm going to go with Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant. Mexican restaurant. I do not know the secret of eternal happiness, but I've never been sad at a Mexican restaurant. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just going to throw it out there. The thing that was Chi-Chi's, I mean, they had the nachos grande. That was a big thing, and we used to like that. And they even had something called twice grilled barbecue burritos, and those were okay.
Well, those the leftover burritos from the other day that had already been cooked, and so they
we
recooked them.
didn't care. We ate it anyway.
That was the fancy way of saying these were the ones that
we're heating it up again.
Eaten yesterday.
Anyway, maybe that's why they're not in business now. But the thing of it is. I
suggest not to eat the one that says 3 times.
Do you know anywhere, and I guess this would fall under food item, do you know anywhere that still serves Mexican fried ice cream?
Good question.
Just Chico's?
I don't
downtown?
Chico's is a local one here. I would say yes. I would say they've got to have it.
Maybe that they do, but so I mean, like La Rancheria.
But Chi-Chi's was known for that, though.
Yeah, they were
that was a dessert that they were known for.
Yeah,
right?
that was their signature thing, and man, it was just so good.
Yes,
man. You come in that cinnamon dusted,
yes,
and sugar dusted.
Well, I remember that being a really big Mexican restaurants. Oftentimes are not this huge restaurant with loads of booth. That place was on. I want to say I even saw one that had like a double decker. It was like a second floor.
Yeah,
in one of a bigger city in Ohio.
Why did this not make it down south? They had to ice cream and fried. Yeah. I mean, that is a southern.
It wasn't more of a northern thing. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
but I do remember. Yeah, Chi-Chi's, good call.
Chi-Chi's, I would love to see that. Yeah.
All right, next one. I'm going to go back to entertainment. So stick with you.
Go ahead.
This is probably a top. If you said top 5 moment for me, but it was frequent. It wasn't a one stop moment. Saturday morning cartoons and cereal.
You know what we used to do?
Like
we used to Saturday mornings at the Cox house. We would wake up early, even though we could sleep. We would wake up early because the early person got to eat more cereal, and the box would be gone by the time the 9:30, 10 o'clock rolled around. But so me and my brother and my sister would wake up early just to.
But you would take a week, and you might eat cereal for a few weeks maybe, but you would choose the cereal knowing you are joining it with the cartoons that you're watching.
Yeah,
it was a combination.
Yep, I agree.
And I know we have all the cereals; they still exist. You can buy them everywhere. It's fine. But these Saturday morning cartoons were religiously 7 a.m., 6:30, even till noon.
So what did you eat?
So I all of it. I mean, literally all of it. There was never a one that I just kind of turned my nose on. That I mean, obviously there were some that I love more than others.
Frosted Flakes, Sugar Smacks,
yes,
and
please,
Sugar Pops,
yes, please,
yeah. And so
I will say the ones with honey were not my favorite.
Yeah,
Honey Smacks and the Sugar Smacks were okay. It was always the ones with the dye, anything with the red, blue, green dye, which probably is the reason why I'm insane today.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles.
Even today.
Fruity Pebbles is probably my go-to
Pebbles.
Because it had every color. And then by the time you were done eating, you had a rainbow of milk.
Yeah.
Count Chocula.
Oh, man, yeah.
You automatically had
Never
chocolate milk.
Liked Boo Berry that much.
Yeah, that wasn't
just
the best
never
one.
like that, or the one with Frankenstein.
Yeah,
but
there was a pink one.
Yeah, that's There's Count Chocula and Frankenberry. There it is. Yeah,
Fruit Loops.
Yeah,
same concept. Different color.
I don't
everywhere.
like Fruit Loops that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. I guess I'll get my cereal card taken away. Yeah. But anyway,
how does one get a cereal card? I'd like to know.
I promise you, I have one. No, anyway.
Is it Hasbro Mills? Is that what's on it? Okay, all right. So Saturday morning cartoons, man, we got to bring that back.
Cartoons, I wish.
I'm 50 years old. I will watch Saturday morning.
Might any of those.
Well, let me ask you this. This is the feed on this. Why don't we have, with all the cable channels that we have, we know that YouTube TV can do this.
Yeah.
Why can't we put a running channel that is strictly nothing but 80s cartoons?
I don't see why not.
Why would that not make any money? Why would whoever puts that together, I mean, obviously you're talking about all the different companies that own the cartoons that you'd have to kind of reach out to, but I'm telling you, you would have people of this generation watching these cartoons.
They would.
They're not outdated at all. Watch any of them.
I mean, the gags are still
There's
funny.
Right. You might not have the technology that, cell phones and all that. I mean, you couldn't even make a story or a cartoon like Scooby-Doo now because you're solving the crime with a cell phone. That, that was the fun part about it. There was no technology back then for that. But no, I feel like there's got to be somebody out there like a Tim Sparks who could say, let's just run this entire group of cartoons all across one channel. And I promise you it would do okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
You're up.
All right. I'm going to go music next. And in parts They're still around, but I'm going to go with I'd bring back the Police.
Oh, a band. Just a
band.
full.
Just a full.
Bring them
freaking
back.
Band.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd bring back the Police.
Of all the bands, the Police.
I didn't really listen to the Police all that much for their early albums, even though I respected them for that. But Synchronicity was just unbelievable, and I imprint that on my mind about the '80s. That was that whole
Sting's voice is so unusual.
Sadly, they could not get along, especially Stuart Copeland, the drummer, and Sting. That Lord have mercy, they about come to blows every time they would get together.
Seems like the best always do.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
Journey did that.
Other Kinks did that. Oasis. I mean, some of the other ones who just couldn't. It never stopped Oasis.
I don't have Synchronicity up on the cafe wall only because I looked at it and I've thought about it many times. This is sacrilege to people who love the original albums, but they are one of the few bands that I've looked at quite a bit, and I just like Journey's a great example. I have Journey Greatest Hits. I don't have every one of their albums like they originally came out because the music I love from that band was scattered amongst albums.
Right, yeah.
And every time I thought about buying Synchronicity, there's several songs I go, but it's missing that. But the Greatest Album's got all.
Yeah.
The Greatest Album hit, and that came around, I think, in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it has every one of their songs. So that's the one that I'm kind of navigating. But there is something to that. The Greatest Hit album is not always the one that you bought. Probably you didn't. You bought Synchronicity as a high schooler, and that's the one you remember.
The cassette tape.
Yeah, there we go. I do have the cassette tape, mind you. But that's a good band. Good early 80s band, mid 80s band.
And pound for pound, I mean, that album to me was a very well crafted album.
Yeah.
It was good. And some of their other ones, their hits were good, but the rest of it was to me. And I really loved that one. A lot of depth in the song. So anyway,
and it's also a band you're never getting back. So you're right. That's the one that the impossible is impossible.
That is not. They're not getting back.
We have a better chance for the Saturday morning cartoon.
Probably. I do think that's a logistic, thing that we could.
All right, I got our first clothing.
Go for it.
Jams, pants, and shorts. God. Now, I will say.
You want to bring that back?
Hell yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I did a little rabbit hole here with Dean not too long ago.
Okay.
A couple years ago, actually. And they do exist. You can buy them.
Oh, my God.
You just can't go to a department store and buy them.
Okay.
You have to buy them directly from their website. Do you know how expensive these assholes are making them?
No,
Otherwise, I'd already bought some.
Right.
$100.
Wow.
And for those of you who don't know, look up Jams, JAMZ, pants or shorts. This is a company that sold shorts, and these are, I don't know how to explain them. They're not pants. They don't go all the way to your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
They go past your knee, but they're well above your shin. So it's kind of like a mid-level pant. But then they also
capris.
Maybe. Okay. But damn it, they didn't call them capris in 1984. They were called Jams.
Oh my God. Anyway.
And then they also make bathing suits and shorts. But every one of these, you try to buy one pair and you're going 100, 120 bucks on their website.
Jeez.
So they don't sell them in department stores for 25, 20 or 30 bucks. So that's why I say we got to bring them back. Bring them back to the department stores where I can go and buy them. And of course, the looks of them.
Yeah,
they're outlandish. I mean, you talk about the 80s colors and the 80s, the logos and all the different designs that they have are just insane. But they do exist. And I have thought about going on eBay to buy them, but no, I haven't gotten there yet. So that's a little sketchy. Did you ever own a pair?
Heck no.
Damn it.
What are you at?
Jams.
I didn't know. I was a little
you were
older
too old.
Than you.
Yeah, you were too old.
I was a little older than you.
Look, in the mid 80s, that was, I'd walk in with new Jams. Girls all over me. Everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the Jams.
It was. Well, my striking person. All right. You're not beating Jams. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to go with a cultural activity. Okay. I wish we would bring back, and I don't think they do it anymore. I really honestly don't. Cruising.
Yes, that's a great one.
Man, we used to cruise, and now I'm back in the day.
This wasn't me.
I would
so you have to speak on your behalf. I did in the 90s, not 80s.
I would cruise and smoke cigarettes. Okay. Even when I was in high school, until I would get out to go play football, and then that would end my smoking effectively. But anyway,
just being in a car,
just cruising and listening. I'm gonna tell you what, I probably wore out 2 or 3 Bruce Springsteen cassette, Atlantic City, and
just playing as you go.
So just Man.
Did you stop in in my wife's town, which I was in for half of my childhood? It was a spot you would cruise.
Oh yeah,
but then you would park and you'd cruise again.
Ours was the Captain's Corner in Kinston.
But you just have your cars. You'd sit on the front of your car, cutting music on chill.
Everybody was there. If you hung around anywhere at all, you would hear the phrase, "Where's the party?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to know if anybody was having a party. But
why did that go away?
I don't know. I mean, it was a way that you could get together and just talk and, cruise around. And sometimes
other than the gas, it's inexpensive. Why did that go away?
I really honestly don't know.
Okay.
Because it was a good form of entertainment to me. I mean, you just listen to your tunes and you just cruise.
Drive slow. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That was around all the way back in the 50s. I mean, you're talking.
Yeah. Well, it was there definitely through the 80s because I remember
it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I had to do it. But
right.
I mean, I don't remember it as an 80s kid because I wasn't 16 yet. I love that idea. Okay. On to number 4. I'm going to do my last entertainment. And actually, Tim, I bet Tim will agree with me on this one because he's trying to bring it back to Pizza Hut.
Okay.
I want fucking arcades back.
Arcades. Yes.
Give me arcades.
Man, arcades.
So
I would love that.
We have an hour from here and 2.5 hours from here. We've got them. And they're actually called barcades. So what does that mean? It's actually this extremely long bar. They sell nothing but pizza loaded with arcade games. All of the 80s ones.
Man.
It's called Boxcars, the name of the company.
Okay.
And so they've got one in Greensboro, one in Raleigh, North Carolina. Wow. And I've been to both.
Okay.
And the one in Greensboro, North Carolina is a lot better. It's a lot bigger. But you've got alcohol, you got pizza, and you've got nothing but arcades.
Yeah.
Nothing but the
now,
games.
when I was growing up in Kinston.
But I want the original ones.
And anybody that's listening that grew up in Kinston would know this immediately. It was the Barrel of Fun. They had a barrel of fun, and it was literally like a keg
shape
entrance way. Yeah. The door was
right.
and you walked in, and man, it was just all those iconic games that you used to play. And you just
quarters. All you needed was quarters. You didn't need dollar bills. You just needed quarters.
You just needed quarters. Well, now they run the price of them up so much.
The anniversary of what movie just occurred yesterday that involves heavily arcade games in several scenes in the movie? Matthew Broderick.
War Games.
Yeah. Anniversary was just the other day.
Oh, man,
yeah.
Really?
It was released. Was at 1983, so 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
Just yesterday. But yeah, arcade games, man.
Wow.
And it's so innocent where you just send. My dad would drop me off. I'd have $5 of quarters.
Yeah.
And I could be there for 2 hours and meet my friends, skee ball.
Yeah.
All of that.
You're just hanging out. You're doing good stuff.
It's usually attached to a mall or maybe some other place you can kind of walk around, but It was safe. The arcades, man, they were, easy form of entertainment.
Well, now it's just so much easier to,
have a console here at your house.
Yeah, and buy the thing and play it.
But there was something to standing up and being there with 200 other people playing games together, and you're bouncing back and forth.
And you're watching and you're getting ideas for when you play. And
then somebody loses and they get all mad. And then, I don't know.
You must have been there when I was. Anyway, yeah, because I lost quite frequently.
Yes. Well, you're a winner now, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. You got one. Is this your next one?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess so.
Is this your last one, or you got one more?
No, I've got 2 more.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Now, I know it's been around. I just remember in the 80s. I don't even know if they still got them. I guess they do. The glow-in-the-dark Frisbee by Whammo.
Oh, well, how about just say Whammo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Whammo.
The company Whammo.
But the glow-in-the-dark Frisbee was great because somebody didn't think that through because the Frisbee glows in the dark. The trees and the fences in my backyard don't. So anyway.
Or the people.
Yeah. So anyhow, it was... they used to have that little things that you could do at night.
If the audience is listening here for Whammo, if you Google Whammo and look at all the different products that they sold in the 80s, it was amazing.
Yeah.
They had a spongy boomerang, a blue boomerang. Do you remember this?
I don't remember that.
I mean, if you think about a boomerang in the 80s, you were thinking about this incredibly powerful, I will wing it, I will hit somebody in the head with it, and then it'll come back to me exactly where I'm standing. And by golly, that thing did come back. That thing would return itself, and I don't know how the hell they did it, but Whammo was a company that made it.
But yeah,
but you're right. Whammo is definitely.
They used to do a whole lot of. They used to advertise.
They had some products, I think, with the water products that we would play with too outside the yard too. Yeah. All right. So I think we'll just collectively say, bring back Whammo.
Bring back Whammo.
That's great. Okay. All right. I got a prop here for you, Michael, even though the audience can't see. But I'm gonna say it anyway. Here we go. Restaurant I want back.
You can keep it.
No.
Dear God.
I have in my possession.
Are you serious?
A Long John Silver's hat for when the kids come through the line to pick up their fish. You get a hat.
Still get one at Burger.
Long John. Yes, you got the Golden Crown, but this is better. This is the pirate hat, Michael. And we're in pirate country, East Carolina.
That's true.
Long John Silver's is still one of the best restaurants, fast food wise, in history.
I don't like fish.
The crispy fish.
Yeah.
the fries that were battered in with the fish to you. So even if you didn't like fish, you tasted it anyway. The vinegar you could pour all over everything. Oh my God. So many Sundays after church, my dad would take me here to Long John Silver's.
Long John.
And let me tell you what, here's the experience. So the Pizza Hut has the red booths, right?
Right.
The Long John's had the same kind of booths, but the booths would be they would look like wood, like a pirate ship, right?
Right.
And then the color would be this really bright, like Carolina sky blue. Okay. You would have net everywhere, just nets.
I do remember that.
You
I've
had
been in a Long John
yes,
Silver's.
you would have this huge pirate head, much like what the logo is for on my hat here. And of course, the kids would always they just had hats stacked. You would just grab one every time you came through the line. And I would be so happy. The Hush Puppies. There is nothing about Long John's that I can say negatively about, except that we had 2 here in Greenville when we first moved here.
I was about to say, I thought they were here.
And then we turned to 1 and then 0.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, the company that owns them is a company out of Kentucky. It's called the Yum Corporation, much like the Dalen Corporation that that Tim has. The Yum Corporation owns both Long John Silver's and Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Okay.
And so they're in business of making both of them. That's why when you go and you see a lot of the restaurants in the 2000s, they actually had joint restaurants. There was the same one like we had. And they eventually just started realizing that Long John's wasn't making the money. And so they just turned them into wholesale Kentucky Fried Chickens, which, again, abomination because I would take Long John's over KFC any day. But bring me back my Long John's.
Yeah.
That's my last one.
Wow.
All right, you go.
I don't know whether I can give this one or not because I'm not giving this because it's something I want to get back, but it's something I want to get back because I want to laugh at it.
What's wrong with laughing?
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with laughing.
Yeah.
I say bring back the K cars from the 80s. They were like square. They were just square, god-awful, ugly, but very economical. And
horrendous looking.
Dad just jumped on them. Oh, but they were terrible. Yeah, and so anyway, the K would always fall off and be upside down. Anyway, it was.
Of all the cars?
Of all the cars, there were. Well, I mean, I was just saying, if you brought back that one, I would at least be in traffic in Greenville, and I would be laughing,
pointing at
a little bit. Yeah, or doing something rather than yelling, which is what I do now.
But the K car, okay. How would that's not?
As I said, it's not really. It's like you can't really.
Can we find one somewhere? Does it even exist in terms of?
They had an Aries K. They had a Reliant K.
The Reliant's the one I remember.
Yeah. And so we had one for many years, and Dad was all over that. He was very economical.
The K car.
So we rode it until it disappeared like dandelions.
If we could find a K car to purchase, will you let me drive you to Long John Silver's?
And I will, and I'll order fish, and I'll try to eat.
And I'll let you wear my.
Okay. I can do it.
All right. Well, we're going to end here. I am going to say my Living in the 80s podcast crew wanted me to throw some out. They also said cruising, which I thought was interesting, but they wanted to throw out the idea of renting from video stores. They loved going to the store when they realized a new video was coming out and waiting in line and looking behind the box to see if it's there. That's kind of gone away now with streaming. I love this one. Shopping malls as the epicenter of hanging out. That kind of goes in tandem with my arcade because I do remember just walking, hanging out with friends. That's actually healthy. I have to kind of look back and think about rather than just sitting in a room somewhere talking
on a phone. Was Vernon Park Mall in Kinston, and it's now made it on YouTube because
the malls are
like
gone.
A ghost.
Yeah, it's a ghost town.
It's like there's nothing in there.
Just like I told you at the beginning of the podcast, a guy who's going around finding all these restaurants that they turn retro. There is a guy who's going into these malls.
Yeah.
Don't do this for those of you who are listening. He's sneaking in and breaking into these malls. He's finding these ways from the ceiling and other places that are unlocked or locked, and he's breaking the locks. He's not stealing anything, but there are malls across the country they're like ghost towns, but there are things that are still in it that just look, for lack of a better term, mysterious.
Yeah,
and bizarre because they haven't demoed them. Yeah, and some of them still have signs of the stores that are in there.
Yeah,
and they don't really have the merchandise, obviously, but they've just kind of left it there.
Right,
and he's going in and finding it. I saw
like
him on
a
Instagram.
Time capsule.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you just go in and
I don't even care if you just said, "Look, we'll charge you a buck. Make some money off of it. Just open the doors and just keep it that way.
Let people like
walk
a museum.
In. Yes.
Yeah, let them do it.
And because they haven't touched any of this stuff.
Do that,
man. Dude. All right, these ideas, man. We are geniuses.
See,
we're doing it. Okay. Big hair I got from a young lady living in the 80s. She said, I want my big hair back. I want it back in style with the shoulder pads.
With the shoulder pads.
Love that.
God knows.
And then
watch some old Matlock reruns, and you'll
Oh
see
gosh,
that gear.
just that song.
Jesus.
And then albums being released at midnight and waiting in line to go get your album. That's very similar to the movie theater concept that we talked about.
I
So,
remember that.
oh man, this was
I don't
great.
know that there was an album ever released that I wanted to wait in line to get, but then again, I was older. So
I distinctly remember. I distinctly remember when Metallica's Black Album was the one I remember, but that was when I was 15.
Yeah.
But I remember having to wait in line for that. And again, Metallica had built up so much fan base in the 80s.
Right.
They were, and there was a little controversy with that too in terms of the cover and all that. So yeah, that was the one I didn't really do that much in the 80s because I was young. I mean, my dad wasn't going to let me stay out till midnight to stay up. But I do remember people, Sam Goody and places like that, trying to get albums. But okay, this was great, man. I had a good time.
Yep, I did.
I think we got to get on some of these ideas, though. We got to bring some of this back.
Yeah.
Can we pull some money together and do some of this? Can we get a roller skating rink here, Mike, or a long johns? We need to pull our sources together. Maybe Tim will help.
Work there if you.
We now know a CEO of a major corporation.
Can we just throw his name around?
He can venture away. Got this idea.
Talk to him. You know,
a mall with long johns and arcades selling jams.
Selling jams.
And you get a free pizza if you can tell me what Saturday morning cartoon you watched today. I got all of my ideas wrapped up in one.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to get out of here. The cafe doors are about to close, but man, I don't want to end it. I want to keep on with this list, but I had a good time. Thanks to Tim Sparks, CEO of Dalen Corporation, for joining us and for bringing us back to the 80s, which we always love to do on this podcast. And we will see you in a few weeks. Take care. The cafe doors are closing.